There is probably no other person in the rap game with whom conflict is as dangerous as with Eminem, and yet for a while, Marshall seemed indifferent to criticism and taunts from the media or other artists. At some point, however, things have gone too far, and Shady exploded, serving us one of the best albums of recent years. Here's the story of how Kamikaze from Detroit destroyed everyone who dared to criticize him.
You know, everybody's been telling me what they think about me for the last few months. Maybe it's time I tell them what I think about them.
Of course, the story of Kamikaze has its beginning in 2017, when Eminem released his 9th solo album, Revival. Criticism of that release began even before it came out. The singles, the track list released on December 5th, and even the cover art were criticized. When the album finally came out, it was only worse. Online hip-hop communities were flooded with memes mocking the album, and YouTube critics like DJ Academics and Joe Budden took shots at Eminem, claiming he was out of touch.
One of the worst records I've ever heard. I don't care if it's good rapping on there. And when that album comes out, if it's fucking trash, I'm gonna be the first nigga to call it trash.
In an interview before the release of Revival with Elton John, Marshall said he had created a diverse album with something for everyone. It turned out to be almost the complete opposite. In fact, it's safe to say that in 2017, criticizing Eminem's latest album was simply a trend. Almost everyone was doing it, gaining more clicks and likes as a result. You see, in the early 2000s, something like this would have been unthinkable. Any taunt towards Shady would have threatened violent retaliation. He built his reputation by taking shots at the media, pop stars, critics, and even politicians. Whether it was dissing Britney Spears, bashing the Grammys, or mocking the Bush administration, Eminem never backed down from controversy. However, since his return after the hiatus, something has changed. M has become calmer and more mature. Even when Relapse was not well received after its release, Marshall did not react. Over the following years, more people accosted Shady, but he completely failed to react. For almost a decade, it became safe to criticize Eminem because he didn't clap back like he used to. Many believed he was too big to care or that he had lost his battle spirit. Some even said Eminem was too soft compared to his younger self. In an interview with Vulture, which was published on December 16th, that is, one day after the release of Revival, M said, "I've always felt in touch with the people who listen to my music. I make it for them. Anybody else, fuck them. It's fine if critics or whoever keep thinking I'm not as good as I was." Taking advantage of the impunity, critics allowed themselves more and more, and as we all know, the appetite comes with eating. However, no one took one thing into account, namely that all this criticism could actually reach Marshall himself, and combined with all that has accumulated over nearly a decade, it could create an explosive mixture that would wake the sleeping giant.
Bin Laden with a pin, bodying again. I begin slaughtering your men. Probably should have been Ali at a spin. Golly, embodiment of sin like a Saudi and the Taliban plotting an event.
On January 8th, 2018, less than a month after the release of Revival, Eminem unexpectedly released a remix to the track Chloraseptic. In this version of the song, we can hear both verses from 2 Chainz and Fresher, as well as a brand new verse from M. From its very first lines, we can hear a drastic change in Marshall's tone. Fans even joked that Eminem just released a verse that is better than anything we could hear on the entire album, but the Chloraseptic remix was special and groundbreaking for one reason. For the first time in many years, Eminem finally addressed the criticism. At that point, no one was under any illusion that Marshall had actually read the reviews and watched the reactions to Revival. He was furious, and that verse was just the beginning, as the following lines heralded.
I just added to the fuel in my rocket pack till I'm ready to respond, then I'ma launch it at him. Idiotic from the fucking embryonic sack to the body bag, I'll be back. You better take it back to the shelter and hamburger help because damn it, I'm still not greatest in the world, greatest in the world, greatest in the world.
The afternoon before Kamikaze's release, Eminem posted a 15-second teaser of a new song on social media, featuring the logo for the superhero film Venom. Then on August 31st, he shocked the world by releasing the entire album without any prior announcement or promotion. Eminem utilized social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter to announce the album's release and leverage the widespread buzz generated by diss tracks and online discussions to amplify its reach. A few weeks after Kamikaze dropped and proved to be a huge success, Eminem responded to the criticism by placing a full-page ad in The Hollywood Reporter, sarcastically mocking negative reviews, including one from The Hollywood Reporter itself. The ad uses the artwork for Kamikaze, which by the way is a reference to the design of the 1986 Beastie Boys album Licensed to Ill. Kamikaze was fueled by the wave of criticism that met the Revival album. Eminem used the anger rekindled in him to create an album in which he responds to everyone who deserved it. from rappers to YouTubers to people in his own circle. The very concept of the album perfectly captures the nature of its content, for Kamikaze were special Japanese military units of the World War II period belonging to airborne and naval units of the Japanese Navy. Kamikaze soldiers sacrificed their lives in attacking the enemy by piloting specially adapted aircraft. The goal of the Kamikaze was to inflict as much damage as possible on the enemy, and as a result, they usually suffered death.
I'm a fucking kamikaze crashing into everything. You beat me, Islamic Nazi, that means there is no such thing.
Kamikaze was a special album because M not only responded to critics and haters in general, he addressed directly many of them. Already in the album's opening track, The Ringer, many shots aimed directly at well-known rappers are fired. He slurs artists such as Lil Yachty, Lil Pump, Lil Xan, Iggy Azalea, and Machine Gun Kelly, and imitates the flow of Migos and Lil Pump.
So, finger bang, chicken wang, EGK, Igazay, Lil Pump, Lil Xan, imitate Lil Wayne. I should aim at everybody in the game, pick a name.
However, in The Ringer, in addition to the rappers, M also turned his attention toward then US President Donald Trump. At the end of the song, he refers to a situation in which it was the Secret Service that allegedly showed up at his home in connection with Shady's attacks toward Trump, specifically by BET Cypher, The Storm. In the next few tracks, M primarily addresses critics as a whole and proves that he still has a lot to offer as one of the best rappers ever. However, it can be said that in a sense, this is the calm before the storm, which begins with the track Not Alike.
Brain dead, eye drops, pain meds, Cyclops, they beg, iPod, Maybach, my buck.
This track continues Kamikaze's main theme by dissing the mumble rappers who dominated the industry at the time. The first beat, crafted by Tay Keith, draws inspiration from Drake and Blockboy JB's Look Alive,
901 Shelby Drive, look alive,
which is a prime example of the common mainstream trap sound. The second beat, produced by Ronnie J, mirrors the style commonly associated with SoundCloud rap instrumentals.
But next time you don't gotta use Tech 9 if you wanna come at me with a submachine gun. And I'm talking to you, but you already know who the fuck you are, Kelly.
Eminem skillfully mimics the flow from Migos' Bad and Bougie in the hook, while uttering words that make no sense at all.
Soldier my soul and then told him the moment he saw me that I'd be the most hated, though made it so that there's no shame, it's okay to own it, cause life is a bitch, he's a bullet.
Records on records, got backers on backers, I'm riding around in a cool.
Throughout the track, he satirizes popular rap trends, incorporating repetitive lyrics, ad-libs, and the most common themes in modern rap. However, in addition to parodying mumble rap, this track is special for one main reason. In it, Eminem disses Machine Gun Kelly. It was this track that caused MGK to later record the diss track Rap Devil. However, M didn't take aim at him for no reason. First, in 2012, MGK made an obscene comment about Haley, who was only 16 at the time. Although according to the Cleveland rapper, it was not inappropriate as he held Eminem in high esteem as one of his idols. However, there was apparently some kind of change in him later on, as a result of which he hooked Shady up with a guest verse on Tech Nine's track No Reason.
Popped in on the top charts at the cop card, so remind y'all you just rap, you not gods.
In Not Alike, Eminem addresses these situations and hammers MGK. It must be said that this song is one of the most uncompromising in Marshall's entire discography, yet it is only after it that the moment comes when Shady flies off the handle to squash those who deserve it.
Gotta concentrate against the clock I race. Got no time to waste, I'm already late. I got a marathoner's pace.
We are, of course, talking about the song Fall. This is the album's first single, for which we could see a video, and probably the song that stirred up the most controversy. Eminem takes aim at several figures in Fall, including Tyler the Creator, Lord Jamar, and former collaborator Joe Budden.
Somebody tell Button before I snap, he better fasten it or have his body back and zip. The closest thing he's had to hits a smacking bitches.
Joe was one of the people who criticized Revival the most from the early promotional stages of that album. This was particularly surprising given that, after all, Budden was a member of Eminem-owned Shady Records. In the track, Joe Budden's former Everyday Struggle co-host DJ Academics also gets it.
It's trash. One of the worst songs I've ever heard. I don't care if the content is great.
However, probably the most controversial moment in the track came when Eminem referred to Tyler the Creator using a homophobic slur. Although the word was censored in both the clean and explicit versions, it still sparked significant backlash. Justin Vernon, who contributed additional vocals to the track, later distanced himself from the song, stating that he disapproved of its message and was not present in the studio when Eminem recorded it. What pushed Eminem to attack was a post Tyler made on Twitter in 2017 after the release of Walk on Water. He wrote, "Dear God, this song is terrible, sheesh, how the fuck?" As with Joe Budden, M felt betrayed by Tyler. After all, it should be mentioned that a few years earlier, Tyler had played together with Eminem during one of his tours.
And Earl Sweatshirt gets in an interview after Tyler trashes me, and I'm just like, really? Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys were just on tour with us. We hung out, like, we kicked it, make jokes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Tyler also referred to the whole situation as well as to Marshall's person in a broader perspective.
Doesn't like that. I don't like his new stuff. And he dissed me on his last album. And I remember hearing it.
Why did he?
Because I keep being vocal about shit that I don't like.
It should be noted, however, that M has somewhat recanted on the issue. In an interview with Sway after the release of Kamikaze, he explains why the word he called Tyler was censored.
the word that I called him on the album was, on that song, was one of the things where I felt like this might be too far.
Despite the fact that the main theme of Kamikaze was an attack on haters, there were also songs on the album that deviated from this rule. Most likely, Marshall did not want this project to become too monothematic, a point raised by Paul in one of the skits, by the way. And so we got Venom, which was created with the movie of the same title in mind. Stepping Stones, in which M officially apologizes and ends his musical collaboration with D12, and several tracks treating complicated relationships such as Normal or Nice Guy and Good Guy, both featuring Jesse Reyes. Joyner Lucas and Royce Da 5'9" are also among the guests on the album, which perfectly illustrates the change in approach from Revival. That album featured many pop stars. Here M relied on skilled rappers. As a curiosity, it is also worth adding that initially, Fall and Kamikaze were mistakenly swapped on streaming platforms, though the issue was quickly corrected. The album was a huge sales success. In the US, Kamikaze opened at #1 on the Billboard 200. The album was talked about everywhere. The world was shocked by the unexpected release, as well as by the contents of the album. Most fans were delighted that Shady finally addressed the criticism that had been heaped on him. Nevertheless, among the numerous reviews, opinions were divided. Some praised Marshall's rawness and uncompromising nature, comparing Kamikaze to his early work. On the other hand, there was also no shortage of opinions that such a style and lyricism did not fit current standards. Of course, when attacking so many people, one must also expect a negative response. Many of the rappers mentioned in the album have addressed this by recording reactions or in interviews, but the loudest response, of course, was that of Machine Gun Kelly, who recorded a diss to Marshall titled Rap Devil.
Rap God, I'm the rap devil. Come a bare face with a black shovel like the Armageddon. When the smoke settled, his body next to this instrumental.
However, there was also no shortage of positive comments from the hip-hop community. Among others, 50 Cent expressed his support for Eminem. Hopsin 2 did not hide his joy that M mentioned him in one of his songs.
Yo, craziest shit just fucking happened. Eminem just said my fucking name on his goddamn song on his new album.
I inspired the Hobsons, the Logics, the Coles, the Sons, the Chaos, the...
Whoa, shit!
Whether you like Kamikaze or not, you have to objectively admit that it is one of the key pieces in Marshall's discography. After the tremendous criticism that came with Revival, M has shown that he still needs to be reckoned with, and from that point on, he still doesn't bite his tongue. Marshall took a risk, put all his eggs in one basket, and that risk definitely paid off. And what do you guys think of Kamikaze? Did you like this album? What are your favorite tracks? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. And if you enjoyed this flight through the world of Kamikaze, don't forget to show some love by leaving a like and subscribing to this channel so you don't miss out on future content. Until next time, Stans, peace.